Hello BookTube, this is Weekly Reads. Over the last few weeks I have read quite a lot of manga, but for various reasons I have not managed to talk about them during Weekly Reads. So I'm going to try to do a big manga wrap-up in this episode, and then talk about some of the manga that I will be reading towards the end of March. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. Pluto is part of a number of projects that I was a part of, or I took part in the month of March. So one of the projects is, throughout the year, I am reading the entirety of the manga series that I have collected since I got back into manga. So there are about 13 series that have been completed and that I have the whole series of. And so I've been slowly reading them since January. For March, I decided to pick two series because they both fit March Mystery Madness, one of the great BookTube events. Pluto and Death Note. Death Note, since it's an all-in-one volume, also fit the requirements for March of the Mammoths, even though at well over 2,000 pages, the complete Death Note is more of a kaiju. So a few weeks ago, I read all 8 volumes of Pluto on one Saturday morning and enjoyed it. So Pluto is a reimagining of a story arc in Astro Boy by Osamu Tezuka, who is one of the great manga creators. For many, he is the god of manga. So in this Astro Boy story arc, a rogue robot targets the other major robots to determine who's the greatest robot of them all. Pluto takes that story arc and turns it into a detective story. An unknown entity has been targeting these 7 great robots. One of the 7, Gesicht, is an investigator for Europol. So he's investigating not only the murders of his fellow robots, but he's also assigned the case of investigating who has been assassinating robot rights activists who were part of a survey group investigating whether the Kingdom of Persia, Iraq, were stockpiling robots of mass destruction, weapons of mass destruction. Because at the time, the United States of Thracia, the United States, was threatening to invade. So there's a lot of play with the Iraq War and sort of the consequences of that war. Another theme of the story is it's the nature of humanity, because many of these great robots, Gesicht, Adam, who is this story's version of Astro Boy, are incredibly close to human, especially Adam, who is virtually indistinguishable from a human. And so there's a lot of discussion about identity, of what it means to be human. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this series. And it's really good. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's not one of my favorite series. I don't think it would make my top 10, which is a project I'm kind of sort of dreading, because there are a lot of really good manga series that I follow, and a lot of them that I very deeply love. So I'm kind of curious in scared of what my top 10 would be. So, so Pluto is, for the most part, a detective story of trying to figure out who's behind the destruction of these great robots, who are being targeted as were the humans because they got involved in that 30-something Central Asian conflict. It's basically the Iraq War. And some of the androids, Gesicht, Mont Blanc, Brando, Hercules, were in active combat. While Adam, because, well, he's a little boy robot, was part of the peacekeeping outfit. And Photon, the other one, objected to the whole thing, although he was brought in at the end to destroy the evidence. So anyway, so I'll show you some pictures of it. So each volume, and there are 8 volumes, opens with color pages. And there are quite a number of very moving moments, particularly with Gesicht. There's a storyline in this first volume about North Number 2, who was sort of a servitor android for a general during the war, who became a servant for a blind musician. Who initially there's some tension between them before they come to sort of understand each other, and just as that happens, North Number 2 gets it. And of course there's also some other things going on behind the scenes. Okay. I wanted to show you Adam. Oh, yeah. So the artwork is lovely, and the story is really good as well. So I also read volumes 3 and 4 of The Summer Hikaru Died by Mokumokuren. So The Summer Hikaru Died is about 2 young men, Hikaru and Yoshiaki. A few months before the series begins, Hikaru went missing in the forests around their village for a week. And when Hikaru was found, Yoshiaki immediately recognized that this wasn't Hikaru, that this was something else. And gradually, the two friends have to circle each other to kind of come to grips with this new reality, that this isn't Hikaru, that their relationship has to be renegotiated. All the while, Hikaru is trying to figure out what he is. He knows he isn't the original Hikaru, he is something else, but he doesn't know exactly what he is. While Yoshiaki is also grappling with his sexuality. And so there's a lot of sort of that negotiation going on between the two young men as well. Um, Also in the village, there seems to be a lot of mysterious incidents, that the village isn't all that appears to be, that there's some sort of arcane mystery going on that the elders in the village are aware of and are trying to take steps to deal with. Also, a number of Hikaru and Yoshiki's classmates are beginning to wonder if something isn't quite right with Hikaru either. So I've been really enjoying this series so far. I've read the first 4 volumes. Volume 5 will come out next week. And one thing I have to say is the artwork is really, really lovely. I've had quite a bit of fun with this. And it's also how the series has come to me. So I saw an advert, like a trailer, for the anime adaptation of The Summer Hikaru Died a few months ago. And I eventually decided to check out the series. So I ordered the first 2 volumes from Powell's, the great bookstore in Portland, Oregon. And unfortunately, by the time I ordered it, Volume 2 was available, but Volume 1 wasn't, so it got canceled from my order. So I ordered it from Book People, the great bookstore in Austin, Texas, where I usually put my pre-orders for the forthcoming manga that I actively follow or want to try out. And then I decided to order Volumes 3 and 4, and the same thing happened. Volume 3 wasn't available from Book People, but Volume 3 wasn't available from Powell's. Volume 4 was. So then I ordered Volume 3 from Book People, and then there's a few issues in it getting to me. The copy I was going to get was damaged, so they had to order me in a new one. Anyway, but very happy to have them and really enjoying what I've been reading so far. I've also been reading and falling in love with One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. So I don't think I've actually mentioned on a Weekly Reads having read the first 4 omnibus volumes. But a few weeks ago, I read the first 4 omnibus volumes. And then this past weekend, I read the next 4 omnibus volumes. So I am currently up to volume 24. And I will soon be starting on volume 25. So One Piece is one of the most popular manga series ever. It's about a young man named Monkey D. Luffy, whose village was, for a time, the base for for a crew of pirates led by a man named Shanks. And this encounter with these pirates inspired Luffy to want to become a pirate himself. And during one of the crew's last days in this village, Luffy ate their treasure, or a treasure they had found, which is a devil fruit, which is a fruit that can grant superpowers. In Luffy's case, he has developed the abilities to stretch, that his body has become rubbery. However, eating the devil fruit means that while you gain superpowers, it also means that you can't swim, that you basically sink to the bottom of the ocean or to any body of water like a stone. And so, particularly for somebody who wants to be a pirate, that's a major drawback. But that doesn't stop Luffy from wanting to become king of the pirates by finding the One Piece, a fabled treasure possessed by the previous king of the pirates, Gol D. Roger. So 10 years after Shanks and his crew last visited Luffy's village, Luffy himself sets out to form a pirate crew and to embrace the adventure of becoming a pirate. So over the course of the first 12 volumes, Luffy forms his crew, starting with a swordsman named Zolo, a navigator named Nami, who is also a thief targeting pirates, a teller of tall tales named Usopp, who so Zolo, Nami, Usopp, who's also a sharpshooter, and Sanji, a chef who worked at a ocean-going restaurant that was attacked by pirates that Luffy helped fend off. And over the course of these first 12 volumes, which is the East Blue Saga, it's revealed that Nami has been working for one of the major pirate crews in this area, the Arlong Pirates. And Luffy and the other members of his crew work together to free Nami from Arlong and her community. And so I first read these 12 volumes about a year ago, and I didn't quite get on with it as well as I would have liked. But I wanted to give One Piece another look. So I did, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It clicked with me on this reading, and I'm very happy for that. And then this past weekend, I read the next 4 omnibus editions. So volumes 13 to 24. So in these volumes, Luffy and the gang and the Straw Hat crew enter the Grand Line, where they get involved with a criminal organization called Baroque Works, which seeks to sow chaos and dissent in one of the kingdoms in the Grand Line, Alabasta, so that the leader of Baroque Works can usurp the kingdom. And so the Straw Hats have ally with the Crown Princess of Alabasta, Vivi, to help her save the kingdom. And it is remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. And in this arc, 2 more crew members are added. Tony Chopper as the ship's doctor, and eventually Nico Robin as the ship's archaeologist, who initially had a more antagonistic relationship with the Straw Hats during the Baroque Work saga. But it was so good. I had a blast. And I'm really looking forward to more One Piece. So expect... I have a book haul coming in on Tuesday. So there will be some One Piece in that haul. And then there'll be another One Piece haul coming up in a few more weeks as well. When those 2 come in, so... It's just, it's so fun. Okay. So I also read the week prior 6 more volumes of Bleach by Tite Kubo. Bleach is another one of the great manga series, one of the most popular manga series. It's about a young man named Ichigo Kurosaki who can see and interact with spirits. One day he meets a young woman named Rukia Kuchiki, who is a Shinigami, a soul reaper, whose duty it is to see newly deceased souls move over from the land of the living into the Soul Society, and to purge monstrous fallen spirits called hollows who have lingered in the world of the living too long. And that is why Rukia is at the Kurosaki clinic. She's tracking a hollow which attacks, and she is injured. And in order to defeat the hollow, Rukia transfers her Soul Reaper abilities to Ichigo, transforming him into a substitute Soul Reaper. Rukia, when she tries to reclaim her abilities, finds out that she can't. And so for the first few volumes, she serves as a mentor for Ichigo as Ichigo performs her duties as the Soul Reaper assigned to Karakura Town, the fictional neighborhood of Tokyo where Ichigo and his friends live. So the series progresses from there. In these volumes that I read, concludes the first part of the series. For most of the series up to this point, the main antagonist was a renegade Soul Reaper named Sosuke Aizen, who orchestrated a lot of what happened over the course of the series, and is at this point in basically trying to accomplish his mission of overthrowing the Soul Society and installing himself in a position of supreme power. So, in these volumes, Ichigo confronts Aizen, and at the end, the story is resolved. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it is really good. I really enjoyed these 6 volumes. And I have subsequently added 6 more volumes, 49 through 54, which I will be reading this coming weekend. So, yeah, which I will get to here in a few minutes. Let's see here. One of the cool chapter covers. It's so much fun. Oh, and I really enjoyed that. So that was a lot of fun. So, over the next few... So, basically this is going to be my manga reading plans to the end of March. So this weekend, I'm going to read 6 more volumes of Bleach, 49 through 54. This is the beginning of a new storyline that largely serves as a bridge from the early part of the series where Aizen is the main antagonist to the final part of the series where a different antagonist becomes the big bad of the series. Really looking forward to it. I'm also going to be reading 6 volumes of Sakamoto Days by Yuto Suzuki, volumes 4 through 10, which I recently hauled in. Sakamoto Days is about a retired hitman named Taro Sakamoto who fell in love and married and got out of the assassination business. However, the assassination business is not done with him. and there's quite a lot of quirky assassins he has to deal with. And also some weird stuff going on in the world of assassinations. Really looking forward to it, which I will get to on Sunday. So over the course of the work week, Monday through Friday, I will be reading 15 volumes of Twin Star Exorcists by Yoshiaki Sukeno. Twin Star Exorcists is about two prodigy exorcists, Rokuro and Binio. After a traumatic incident, Rokuro wants nothing to do with the world of exorcists. However, his superiors have decreed that Rokuro and Binio are the Twin Star Exorcists. Exorcists fated to marry and produce a super exorcist, which will end the 1,000-year war between the exorcists and a species of demon called Kigare. And yeah, really looking forward to revisiting this series. I started it last year and really enjoyed it, although things petered off around the time that I moved apartments. So I'm looking forward to giving the series another look. And hopefully I will get into it as much as I have One Piece. And finally, not this weekend, but the next weekend, I'm going to probably start on part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure by Hirohiko Araki. So this is Golden Wind. I have picked up 4 volumes of this series, although I have not hauled 2 of them. That will come on Tuesday when I also haul in the final volume of Stone Ocean, the 6th part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a long-running manga series that is composed of a number of shorter parts that themselves form their own series. So Golden Wind is about a young man named Giovanni, who is the son of longtime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure antagonist Dio Brando. And Giovanni is part of the Mafia, although I think it's more would be the Camorra, because the series is set in Naples, so I think that would be the Camorra. And so he goes on a number of adventures there. I'm also going to read the final volume of Stone Ocean, probably during this as well, or I might put that off until the end of March. I haven't quite decided yet. And then probably what I'll do with the beginning of April, because I'm currently figuring out what I'm going to do for April, is I think instead of starting with the completed series that I'm going to be reading, I think I'm going to do my March pre-orders, which should come in either the end of March or very beginning of April. So I think what I'll do is I'll read them first before I start on the completed series and then everything else. So anyway, that's I'll probably explain that not this coming Monday, but the 31st. So anyway, BookTube, that's all I have for this week. Thank you. Have a great afternoon and evening and weekend until I see you next time. Thank you, BookTube, and stay safe.